Now, fast forward recently to Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, goes viral, but not for football, but for how he structured his contract. He had an equity clause in his deal with Gatorade. That clause basically said, I'm not just here as a name or a body. I want part of what's being built off of me. I want ownership in the outcome. So that clause essentially just preserved his interest. And he didn't walk away with just a one-time check. He walked away with his corrected status in the contract, and he claimed his equity.
Right now, the NFL is completely whirling. Shedeur Sanders simply dismissed a $2 million offer as if it were pocket change. It's not only news, it's a declaration. Teams are sitting there in disbelief, wondering how a rookie could completely change the course of events before taking the field. Is Shedeur redefining what it means to wager on oneself? Or does he possess knowledge that the league does not? In any case, there is genuine fear, and the NFL may be completely rocked by the fallout.
This is the best situation for Shedeur. You may have lost $20 million, yeah, on the front end. You're still going to make that up if you do.
Consider it. Refusing to accept $2 million without making a single NFL pass. That isn't audacious. That kind of confidence is risky. Boardrooms are holding their ties and mumbling to one another, "What's leverage?" in response to such a stunt. This was not merely a rejection. Tease was a tsunami of titles that swept through the league, shattering the notion that rookies ought to be appreciative of scraps. The money was accepted by Shedeur. He disapproved of the system. The script that has been in use since the era of leather helmets is dusty. The procedure remained the same for decades. You sign, you smile, you get drafted, and you stop talking. It resembled a rookie initiation ceremony.
No, they got you. Don't let them know they got you. You just got to keep on going. No matter what the day is, no matter what the move is, keep going. God gave us everything to point for.
However, Shedeur entered, glanced at the $2 million check, and essentially remarked, "Cute. Perform better." He was no longer just another young quarterback in that instant. Instead, he became every old school agent's worst nightmare. Sanders placed more than one wager on himself. He caused the NFL as a whole to wonder if the hustle they've lived by has been formally shattered. This is the reality. Shedeur is more than just a bag chaser. He is constructing the whole bank. And no, that isn't some corny inspirational phrase, it's a comprehensive company plan. When they see $2 million, most novices think, "I made it." Shedeur noticed a ceiling that he wasn't going to let trap him when he looked at that same number. He no longer moves like a footballer. He's rocking a cleat like a venture capitalist.
We all didn't expect this, of course, but I feel like with God, anything possible, everything possible. I don't feel like this happened, for no reason. All this is, of course, fuel to the fire. And under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand we're on the bigger and better things.
Shedeur is no longer the only issue. It involves completely changing the power dynamics. Dollar signs and commas are not the focus of negotiations. They are about genuine control, alignment, and respect. Translation: don't just show up with a check if you want Shedeur Sanders. You should contribute equity, vision, and a cultural awareness. Since you can sell your own sweatshirt on Instagram and earn the same amount of money while keeping all of it, let's face it, there's no reason to lock yourself into some old brand arrangement.
Nora slice, Nora cut.
Your kitchen is where the entire pie is located. And let's avoid misinterpreting it. This wasn't just any old flex. It was a surgical moment. Training camps are getting hotter. The media is ravenous for more drama.
That's what I'm talking about.
One of them is going to
Speak
be
it
one.
into existence.
And the latter one would not go behind 4. Now, all this is subjective because I know where I kind of want them to go. And let's not forget shallow, okay? But I know where I want.
There's a lot of preseason talk. Suddenly, Shedeur releases that rejection as if it were a mixtape. Every blog, every group chat, and every sports network instantaneously sprung to life.
Well, the truth always comes out one way or another, and this is just a terrible look for Shedeur Sanders, and holy shit, the legendary Chris Carter, another black man, a star athlete who is a legend in the league, goes off on Shedeur Sanders for throwing away at least $30 to $50 million.
Fans were split, executives were in a frenzy, and rookies were clutching their notebooks like students in a masterclass on leverage. However, the pushback quickly follows that type of shock wave. Whispers of conceit, entitlement, and a lack of self-awareness begin to circulate. At night.
Shedeur said he coming back for another year to play with you, bro. I know he just told me that. He gonna fuck with me. They agreed to the terms in the NIL. Yeah. I told him I'm tired of sacrificing, and I got.
Because one rookie's boldness doesn't scare the system. It is afraid of the imitators who follow him. This is more than simply a quarterback placing a wager on himself. This quarterback is already making money. And for the system, which relies on rookies having enough money to take advantage of whatever is available, that is a nightmare. Refusing $2 million used to be considered career suicide. The kind of action that caused agents to yell, "Are you crazy?" and lose their voices. However, this is not the past.
2025 The Year of Viral Impact, NIL Empire, N Digital First Clue.
Shedeur already has revenue sources that most firms can't even match, so he doesn't need a brand stamp of approval. The future is not what he is after. He represents the future. The archetype of the contemporary athlete, whose legacy is determined by reach rather than just rings. Money was not the reason for this denial. It has to do with narrative control and the past. Endorsements were quite valuable. You were chosen by brands, who also polished your appearance, clothed you like a mannequin, and perhaps even allowed you to spit forth one pre-approved line. That model is dead. Shedeur can communicate his tale without the help of brands. He is now the media. One Instagram story may change culture overnight, so he doesn't need a 30-second commercial slot. And those slogans are already created for free by firms that spend millions on their own merchandise drops. So why in the world would he exchange his influence for a blank check? He wouldn't. Spoiler alert. Never ever, not now.
It's always gonna be pain. It's always gonna be things, adversity, things that's gonna knock you down sometimes. But the main thing about it is you just gotta push through it. There's a lot of people in this world that's going through stuff, but I'm playing for it.
This is the craziest part. The NFL seems clueless about how to handle this. Imagine being a league that treated rookies like unpaid interns for decades, only to witness a fifth-round pick dismiss millions of dollars like a billionaire bargaining at a rummage sale. Imagine the companies that believed rookies were still in a terrible situation, only to discover that this young generation has more influence than half of their marketing departments put together. There is anarchy. Chaos, glorious and long needed. They sense it as well. A vice president is bawling over a laptop somewhere right now, revising contract templates as if their whole empire had just collapsed. What will happen next? Equity deals first. Athletes are calling for creative control. Relationships based on sincerity rather than those stale catchphrases. Cross-platform releases that resemble cultural events rather than advertising campaigns. And the worst part.
Shedeur Sanders made the entire National Football League look like a whole bunch of petty fools. In some cases, racist fools. In many cases, Dion despising fools.
Instead of being hungry, rookies enter the league with leverage. That is the end of the old system. Because the entire kitchen closes when players decide they don't need crumbs. Shedeur did not simply discard the playbook. He rewrote it with a smirk, hashtags, and emojis. Rookies were instructed by the previous script to don't rock the boat. After setting the yacht on fire, he took off on an independent jet ski. The rest of us refer to it as clarity, while critics call it arrogant. He is fully aware of his contributions. He also demonstrated that recognizing your value is more than just bragging by declining.
It's a révolution.
He rejected the system that wrote the check, not just the check itself. These ripples are now becoming shock waves that are blasting through music, fashion, sports, and technology. Every industry that believed that talent will always accept meager pay simply because the check cleared is now facing the harsh reality. The check is no longer sufficient. And this is just chapter 1, which is the scariest part for the old guard. Take a look at the brand's confusion following Shedeur's rejection. They appear to be nervous Wall Street employees who have consumed too much Red Bull, perspiring through their button-ups and acting as though they are about to pass out. This is not how the NFL was designed. They are accustomed to rookies pleading to be the face of some sale rack deodorant and scrounging about for leftover sponsorship scraps. Shedeur, however, did not just turn down a contract. Their ego was rejected by him. It hurts because of that. The idea that athletes are interchangeable parts keeps the machine afloat. However, this cog remarked, "Forget your gears," while staring it in the eye. "I'll construct my own engine."
it's honestly just going out there playing ball. I don't really think too deep of it. I think about one completion at the time, one right play call at the time, one um, the right way to do the footwork when we're handing the ball off, doing everything. So every day is just constant grading yourself and trying to have.
Cast on who Shedeur Sanders will be. The die is cast on what the NFL thinks of him. And the NFL thinks he is a player whose college production was very precisely manicured by his head coach, who was his father.
On the football field, not in real life, because we know that Shedeur Sanders grew up with money. But on the football field, he has always been considered an underdog, and that's what made him have the confidence.
The cultural earthquake enters the picture at that point. Athletes used to sell cereal, sneakers, and other miscellaneous items that a marketing agency forced into their hands. It was an easy formula: pose, smile, and cash the check. However, Shedeur changed the course of events. He is not marketing the brand of another person. The league cannot tolerate him because he is the brand. They don't want a rookie quarterback to act like a Fortune 500 CEO, yet that's precisely what's taking place. Panic is seeping out of NFL headquarters. A well-paid executive is somewhere looking at a PowerPoint that reads, "Reassessing rookie marketability," while silently screaming into a Starbucks cup.
The truth is harsh.
In real time, the endorsement playbook is crumbling. Athletes are no longer pleading for a place at the table. The entire table is being dragged into their home. They are no longer merely seated at the table. In order to draw up a chair, they are constructing the table, selling it, and charging entrance. Tease is demonstrated by Shedeur's refusal. Even before he scored an NFL touchdown, he destroyed that illusion. He reminded everyone that sportsmen are the main attraction and not the accessories by declining. Stadiums aren't filled with spectators for beverage ads. They target the athletes. Forget about it. Here's the harsh math. When you consider that Shedeur may earn $2 million on his own through merchandise releases, media endeavors, and cultural shifts that companies are unable to match, $2 million seems like a great salary. It wasn't a present, that endorsement check. There was a discount. He was not being compensated fairly by the brand. They were giving him the amount they believed they could get away with. His rejection wasn't motivated by ego. It was a correction in the market. Clear and loud. Naturally, though, the detractors emerged as they always do. The same old labels are applied to every self-assured black athlete, conceited, entitled, and unfocused on the game. The same antiquated script was applied to Cam Newton, LeBron James, and anybody else who dared to exhibit agency rather than behave like a hired body and shoulder pads.